I'm Taylor Miller,
And I'm Morgan Francola.
and this has been our coverage on the presidential candidate election. Okay, Stephen, let's talk about your views on the war.
Well, I think that war is an evil thing, but a lot of times it is a necessary evil, and we cannot forget that we were attacked by these terrorists, and we cannot allow them to get away with this.
Okay, about how much money do you think should be spent on the military?
Well, personally, I believe that if we spend this much, the amount of money we are spending on the military, that it's not necessarily a bad thing, and that there are other areas we can cut. Think about it this way: if your parents are in the military and government cuts military spending, that means they're getting less equipment. Their stuff isn't as good as other people's stuff. That means they're in danger. I don't want our military in danger.
Okay. Now with taxes, what are your plans on fixing and doing with taxes?
Well, first of all, what my first plan with taxes would be is to cut taxes for lower to middle class Americans. And then for American-based companies who send jobs overseas, I will put a tax on them for every single job they send overseas. So now they will be forced to bring jobs back to the States, which will also cut unemployment.
How do you plan to bring this country back up with that?
Well, like I said, I plan on working really hard on bringing jobs back to the States, which will first lower our unemployment numbers, and then people will have more money to spend, so that will boost our economy, which will eventually make our dollar strong again.
Alright, what are your thoughts on the other presidential candidates?
Well, I think the other candidates are very smart, but they're not quite as conservative as myself, and I believe that with the country the way it is now, that a conservative president is the way to go, and I think the more conservative someone is, the better.
Okay. So what makes you better than the other candidates?
Well, I feel I'm better than the other candidates because I am more conservative, and I will limit the size of our government, because a smaller government is better. That means the people would have more freedoms, and the government would be less prominent in your everyday lives.
With gas prices, are there any way of fixing or changing them in the future?
Well, that's a tricky situation because of the volatile situation in the Middle East. It may not be immediate, but if we drill in places where we know we have large oil deposits, it will eventually help our gas prices. And gas prices currently are on their way down. If we start to drill, there will be more oil, more gas produced, lower prices.
Okay, how do you plan on increasing border security?
Well, personally, I believe that the war in the Middle East is scaling down. And as that scales down, more and more troops will be coming home. And I believe whether it takes National Guard or regular Army troops, there will be small garrisons stationed along the border, along with more fences built. That way, with the presence of fences and men in areas that may be more remote and easier to sneak across for the illegals, there will be now something there to stop them.